My name is Lawrence Nkwocha, and today I'm streaming live from Lagos, Nigeria. This is Formula for Everyday podcast. I come here live every morning and evening to discuss personal development topics and how you can get better as a person, to grow on a personal level, to, just better your life generally. So today I've been having this interesting thought about leadership. If you consider the entire world, one of the determinant of how a body or an organization or a country gets to move is about its leadership. And leadership is so important that it determines a lot of things about the outcome of a particular organization or even people. So I've just been thinking about the subject of leadership, and I came up with a couple of nuggets that I would like to share, just to remind you about these things. The interesting thing about personal development and um, growth generally is that we know a lot of things, but we need to be consistently and constantly reminded so that we don't forget these things, and we also have steps on how to put some of these things to practice. And that is why I'm here to help you out to do some of these things and get to work in implementing these nuggets. So thinking about leadership, just like we start, I always love to establish that we may hope to do better things tomorrow, but the best things are done today. And that is the first principle of personal leadership, because if you understand that no matter how scarce resources are today, you can actually make the most of what you have today. Okay. Anything can happen tomorrow. You could, get those resources you've always wanted to get. But even yesterday, I was talking about how you can be proactive to gather what you have and start utilizing it and not being reactive, because those that react always fall under stress, because you always have to catch up with time. You have to start building your discipline from scratch. But if you have the idea of proactivity, it's better for you. So always remember that we may hope to do better things tomorrow, but the best things are done today. So today, speaking about leadership, leadership is the reason why having that resilience to grow and be a better person is the reason why um, countries, organizations and people tend to lead different lives. So we must understand that before we come to public leadership, private leadership is the most important thing, and the world is in their need of leaders. It's in their need of leaders, both in politics, in business, in families, especially. You see, the role of leadership in the family is so important that it's lacking in so many places. Okay, it's lacking in so many places. So leadership is a very important concept. Thank you very much, Justice, for joining in today. I really appreciate you. So please, I would love you to engage, ask questions if you have any. So leadership is a very, very important, it's a very important concept when it comes to, building in the world today. And it all starts with personal leadership. So what are you doing on a personal level to get better? Okay, what are you doing on a personal level? So if you're able to lead yourself and create a wonderful outcome, other people will be able to see you as a reference point. Other people will be able to see you as an example. I've been repeating this mantra for a long time that I'm a good example. And the idea of being a good example is that the best way to teach other people is through example. Okay, is the best way to teach other people. And as a leader, you are basically a model. You're a paradigm that other people look at to emulate and follow. So personal leadership is a very important thing. So before we go to public leadership, private leadership is very important. So I'll just be sharing some nuggets about leadership, and I would really love that you engage me on this video, and ask your questions. So first of all, leadership is not a title, okay? Leadership is being able to produce results through responsibility. Now, I've always shared on this podcast that responsibility is your responsibility, and we all have different levels of responsibility. For some of us have very fast level of responsibility. You're able to tackle a situation very fast. depending on how much of foundation you've built with your resilience and mental toughness. Now, leadership is not just a title, is your ability to produce results when given a responsibility or when taking a responsibility. And the most interesting thing about leadership is that you must not be assigned a responsibility. You can look around you in your family, in your business, in your workplace. You can look around you and take up a responsibility. You are able to respond to a particular problem or a challenge in order to be able to create a solution. And I love this analogy that you see, problem solvers are quite different from solution providers because these are two different things. When you solve problems, you are living reactively. So you are waiting for the problem to happen before you solve it. But when you're a solution provider, you're able to anticipate what would happen and you are proactive enough to create a system or create a discipline that is able to tackle that challenge even before it comes. So leadership is not just about the title. It's not about what you're being called. If you are being called, the president or vice president of your company, if you are being called the team lead, it's about what you are doing with the responsibility that you've been given in order to be able to, provide solutions and not just solve problems. Yes, one of the aspects of leadership is to solve problems, but you are not just a problem solver. You're also a solution provider. So, and like I mentioned yesterday, it's important that you are proactive with how you actually carry out your duties as a person. Because if you are proactive, even in your personal life, it shows, and this is what makes people to have the trust to put you in a leadership position and keep you there. It creates enormous amount of credibility. Okay, so leadership is not title. It's not just title. It's responsibility. When you are able to take responsibility and provide results, because the world we are living in now, everybody wants to have, like, they want to see an evidence of what you've done. So if you're able to provide results through the responsibility you're given, then that's what leadership is. And don't be deceived by occupying offices or occupying titles, having titles to your name. That doesn't really That's not the first step about being a leader. The first step about being a leader is having the responsibility to create results. So secondly, we'll be looking at how leadership starts. So how exactly does leadership start? When you understand that the leadership is in responsibility and providing of results, leadership starts with vision. Okay, so vision is quite different from seeing. I mean, I'm looking at you now and you're looking at me too. That's what it means to see, see with our sense of sight. But leadership is your ability to have a a dream that is not visible to the eye. And that's what separates, leaders from followers. Because if you are able to take your responsibility and create a vision out of it, create a dream such that you have a goal of where your company, your family, your life. I mean, because vision starts with a person. That's why I first spoke about personal leadership. And this is one of the topics that we don't talk about so much. Personal leadership is so important even before you go to, because whatever happens in your personal life is what pervades whatever organization you choose to lead. So personal leadership is the first step, because after personal leadership, after personal leadership, then we are able to go to we're able to go to public leadership. We're able to go to public leadership. So personal leadership is a very important part of sorry it's a very important part of the whole leadership process. So the vision, what's the vision you have for your life? If you are being asked, there's this interesting questions that a lot of interviewers get to ask, and I think it's one of the most profound questions, because they ask you, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? If you start thinking futuristic, if you start thinking in terms of future occurrences, I believe it's a very great sense of responsibility. When you take responsibility for where you can be in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, it's not dependent on your government, it's not dependent on your job or your current job, because you have the agency, you have the personal agency and responsibility to change your life entirely. Yes, if you take responsibility for your life, then you are able to advance. Because the most funniest thing is that a lot of people love to delegate responsibility for even their own lives. They don't want to take responsibility and say that, okay, I am in charge of whatever happens to me. But being a leader is for you to be able to take responsibility and say, yes, I'm in charge. In spite of whatever may come my way, I'm very sure that I can create my own future. I can be what I said I'm going to be. And that's by, how you approach every single day, because leadership starts with how you approach every single day. Okay, what have you set apart for yourself to to do today? How much have you been able to discipline yourself and take personal responsibility to actually do that thing today? Because if you want to tell, somebody said, if you want to tell how your life will go in the next 5 years, look at what you did today. So if you accumulate your todays for 5 years, just calculate 365 multiplied by 5 and check out how much, like what you did today. Imagine what you did today in 365 days, then imagine it in 5 years. How is your life going to look like? So leadership starts with winning your day. It starts with winning on a personal level. And when you're able to create a vision for yourself and lead yourself to be able to follow that vision and reach a very desirable result through responsibility, then it's easier for you to create such vision for other people. Okay. So that's the second thing we've spoken about. Then character is what, the third point is that character precedes authority. You see, character, they say it's like smoke. So it's not just about what you've been handed, like what the kind of authority you've been handed over, because I mean that's why a lot of African leaders misbehave. I mean, I know leadership is a worldwide challenge. The world is in their need of leaders. It's in their need of people that walk their talk, people that do what they said they would do, people that see responsibility and able to, carry that responsibility to profile results. But a continent like Africa is lacking greatly in leadership because we have very few people that are able to take responsibility for their life. I mean, if you're watching this stream tonight, I want you to promise yourself that you're going to be a leader. I mean, a leader can be in different capacity. You must not be a political leader, but when you choose to lead yourself, when you choose to lead your life, when you choose to lead your family, the world becomes a better place generally. So character precedes, authority. How much of your character have you been able to build over time? Okay, that's leadership. You see, when you are very particular about who you become as a person, okay, because who you are is more important than what you say or what you do, okay, because it's not just about what you say or what you do, but it's about how you make people feel. That's leadership. Leadership is influence. When you're able to influence people enough to believe in the vision you've set, you see, a leader is somebody that is able to direct resources and responsibilities in order to be able to achieve a particular goal and objective. So when you're able to direct, your people, those people that are under you, in order to be able to achieve a particular goal and objective, that's the first step of leadership. And it's your character. Your character precedes authority. So before authority is given unto you, because a lot of people misbehave when they get authority in their hands. So it's your character. How much of your character have you been able to, refine in order to be able to, lead people? So that's the third point. Then the fourth point, I'll just be listing a couple of leadership principles that is very integral to being a leader. So first of all, we have clarity. You need to be very clear of where you're going to and the goal you want to achieve for your organization or your business. You see, with clarity comes people are able to follow you better when they know what you want to do. And with clarity comes a lot of integrity, because if you've been able to achieve something in your personal life, it will be easier for you to convince a group of people or an organization or even your family that you are able to lead them. So it comes with clarity, first of all. Then secondly, we have competence. Wherever you want to lead, wherever industry you want to lead, wherever industry you want to, get to advancing, you need to be competent enough. You need to be competent enough to, show up. And competence comes a lot with results. What result have you been able to generate in the, the industry or area of your leadership desire, the area you want to lead in? What result have you been able to develop? That's very important when it comes to leadership, competence. And like I mentioned earlier, for you to be able to create results that are desirable, you need to have that responsibility, personal responsibility, and responsibility for the group. All right. So the next one we're looking at is commitment. It's when you talk about responsibility, you're talking about commitment. You need to be committed to your work. You need to be committed to whatever you have set out to do. Commitment. So when you're talking about leadership, it's about how committed are you as a person. When you say that you are going to maybe, let's say, for instance, exercise today, how committed are you to actually achieving that goal? Did you sleep in because it was raining? How committed are you? And commitment, the interesting thing about the habit of commitment is that it's very visible. If you are committed to a cause, everybody can see it. You don't need to convince anybody that you are committed. Okay. If you check some, like, for some days back, you see that I am personally committed to showing up here every morning and evening to make this broadcast in respective of the numbers that I get, because it is a personal commitment that I've made to myself. And that's what I need you to do, to be personally committed to how you show up, how you get things done. All right, so the next one we're looking at is the constraints you place on yourself. Because one important thing about being a leader is to have boundaries. Okay, you need to always work within due bounds. You need to set boundaries for yourself so you are not overstepping, because people are watching you, people are looking at you, people are learning from you. And if you don't have constraints that keep you where you're supposed to be as a leader, then you find out that you would be going overboard, and you be a lot of times you'll be hitting below expectation, and that will affect the entire organization, because every success or failure is always traced back to leadership. And this is one of the main reasons why continents like Africa has been lacking a lot when it comes to advancement, because of the kind of leadership we have. But you watching today can make a difference. You see, when you decide to become a leader, and being a leader, you don't need a country to start being a leader. You have to start with your own personal life and how you can better yourself. Okay, so the next thing I'll be going at is the emotional discipline it takes to become a leader. You need a lot of emotional discipline, because you need to be able to you need to be able to talk to yourself. You need to be able to, yes, it's very important that you get a coach, somebody that would help you to, brush you up to understand the principles of leadership and get better at leadership. But you also need to take personal responsibility for your life, because it's not everything that you discuss with your followers as a leader. So there's a lot of personal leadership that comes with being an actual leader in the open. So I want to really encourage you today, because leadership is something that is greatly lacking in our world today. I want to encourage you watching. Thank you very much, Joseph. I want to encourage you that it's something you can do. It's something you can definitely do. You can, step up and become a leader in your personal life. Don't wait for somebody to take responsibility for you. You are able to lead yourself. Okay, you can step up and become a leader in your family, in spite of your position as a child, in spite of whether you're a man or a woman. You can take responsibility and become a leader. Okay, then I also want you to, take responsibility for results, because if something is working or something is failing, I mean, it might not be your fault, but the fact still remains that there are no excuses. There are no excuses. So you need to take personal responsibility in order to be able to, make what you are doing better. Take personal responsibility to improve the system, to make everything you're doing better. So thank you very much. That's basically the end of my notes. Yes. So you need to act differently as a leader, basically, by taking responsibility and providing the results that you desire to see in your organization or in your family or in your personal life. So I really appreciate you coming on the live today. I mean, I would really love that you ask me questions or you engage me. Thank you very much, Joseph. Thank you very much, Etiosa Light. Yeah. So I really appreciate you for engaging. Thank you very much. So if you have any questions of what you've learned or something you want to ask, I really love you to engage me. I usually come live every morning and every evening just to talk about personal development topics, and I'm committed to this. This is Formula for Everyday podcast, and just like the name implies, we may hope to do better things tomorrow, but the best things, yes, the best of the best things are done today. So don't look at your small resources, don't look at the small things you have around you. You can always make the best out of that thing today. You don't need to wait till tomorrow. You don't need to wait till you have everything. You need to start today. So until I come your way again by tomorrow morning, I remain Lawrence Nkwocha, and bye for now.